Hi Dustin, thanks for giving me this opportunity to share my views and experience on supply chain. A bit about me, my name is Amir Aziz and I have over 20 years of experience in supply chain with different multinational in oil and gas and energy sectors. I started my career in 1992 with Christensen Gulf Services. It was a division of Baker Hughes and then as workshop administrator and worked there for 3 years and joined Schlumberger as purchasing officer in 1995 and I was with them until the end of 1998. In 99, I joined Agreco, who's a world-leading power generator rental company as purchase inventory manager. I was with them for over 12 years. I started with the company right from the start and set up the entire structure and management framework for the purchasing and stores functions. This summit was very comprehensive and included the setting of warehouse from scratch, developing processes and policies for procurement and inventory control, KPIs, developing a supplier network across the globe and providing support over a specific region, which was Middle East, Africa, Southeast Asia, South America, and at times Australia, and covered about 100 sites. I currently work with Vasco as procurement and supply chain manager since February 2012. In my current role, I'm managing end-to-end procurement, inventory, distribution, and supply to the projects in the region and Jebel Ali. I'll talk about the topics, the questions which you have asked me based on my experience which I've gained over the years. In terms of my experience with supply chain in general, my experience with supply chain in general over the years has been very, very challenging and exciting. There is never a dull moment and every day brings in a new challenge so that you are continuously learning. Companies now have realize the importance of supply chain, understand how supply chain can really improve efficiencies and help them to perform better. An effective supply chain can increase profitability of the company, and hence the demand for efficient supply chain is the focus of many organizations now. There are many definitions of supply chain, and everyone may see it completely differently. To me, in simple words, a supply chain is a stream of processes of moving goods from a customer order, from manufacturing, distribution, retailers, to the end users. Managing this change of event is called supply chain management. And a successful supply chain is integrating all the different links of this chain as quickly as possible without compromising on quality and increasing cost. In addition, key to the success of this supply chain is the speed in which we can accomplish all these activities. Basically, a supply chain includes manufacturer, suppliers, warehousing, inventory, and transportation. Therefore, it involves many departments building cooperative relationship across the supply chain so that the whole chain can work together and adds value to the organization. Hence, it is very important to have an effective and integrated process. All the departments should be on the same page, seeing the same picture. You cannot have a same department within the organization having different objectives. There are many drivers and key factors for the supply chain performance, which are location on where your suppliers are located, production, how much do you want to really produce, inventory, how much do you want to hold in stock, your logistics, transportation network, where your supplier are based, how much time you are spending, what is the transit time, your information system, your computer software system, your sourcing strategy, your total cost of ownership, and your planning. It is also very important to align your supply chain strategy with your corporate and business unit strategy to meet the expectation and demand of the stakeholders. And this can be done by taking into consideration what is important for your organization. For example, it is the quality which is important, is it the delivery time, flexibility, is it the cost which is important, or is it the technology or innovation which is important? Once you know this and you haven't aligned your strategy of the supply chain with your business unit, it will enable the organization to achieve their targets. A strategic supply chain will contribute in reducing waste, non-value added activity. It will improve response to customers. It will provide better visibility and real situation. It will reduce cost and improve quality and service. It will help us manage our risks better, and it will help us develop strategic suppliers across the globe. There are a lot of ways in which you can bring in efficiencies in processes and in operations. There are quite a few things you can do, but keep in mind that they may change from industry to industry. In terms of processes, if you want to bring in efficiencies into the process, you should have a good software system. You provide empowerment to your people and make them accountable for their work. There is no need to check their work again and again and again. Cut down on over processing and non-value added steps in the process. And you can simplify your processes by using value stream mapping, swim lanes to identify waste in processes and eliminate it. This is part of the Six Sigma and Kaizen, and it's very easy and very easy to understand and learn this. In procurement, you can establish price agreements. In procurement, you can establish price agreements for your routine items, example, like consumable, stationery, general items, and work on call-off agreements or monthly or quarterly PO agreements. This will reduce the number of POs in a month, the number of receipts your stores department will do in a month, and the number of invoices the finance department will process in a month. And it will overall save time. For item for which the prices keeps fluctuating, like copper, steel, and oil, you can make arrangements with the suppliers and tie up your pricing mechanism with indexes available. Like, for example, for copper is the LME, London Metal Exchange, where you can set up the formulas and work with the suppliers, do an agreement, just use that as a base price to get the final cost. You can also look at your picking processes in your warehouse and locate items in such a way that when your pick list is printed, you minimize movement to save time and effort. So you don't go from a location A to C and then come back to A and then go to D and then come back to A. You know, your list should be printed in a way that it can be reviewed and stored in sequence, so they are picked in order. So it's very important, once your pick list printed, the items are on the shelf in sequence, so you pick them in sequence. Operationally, you can look at implementing a Kanban system for workshop consumable, which is a 2-bin system where you can tie up agreement with your supplier, and once the one bin is empty, you start using the other bin, and the supplier comes and fills with the consumable the second bin again. You can identify your bottleneck and critical items and key suppliers, and work with your key suppliers to guarantee the delivery of parts by having them reserve and maintain stock for you or guarantee lead times. This requires time and effort, and to establish this, it may take sometimes months or a year, but it is worth the investment. It will help us secure your critical bottleneck items, and you know that they are available with you once these agreements are achieved or are made with the suppliers. We can also have a consignment stock agreements in place with our suppliers, so that we have parts available on the site all the time and pay them when you use them. You can have an MRP system for inventory management, so you can balance your stock and hold optimum stock levels. This will help you define the safety stock, reorder points and quantities for parts, and will also help you establish realistic lead time from your supplier, and will help you plan better in future. If you are in a multi-site operation, then you can look at possibility of optimizing your inventory between the site by setting up a hub and spoke system. So one major hub can support multiple sites. And if you have bill of materials for service items, you can work with suppliers to pre-pack the kits as per your requirement, and the kits are ready to be used once they are delivered. So the supplier packs the kits according to your requirement. You can also implement just-in-time agreements with your suppliers to reduce the inventory. How can we work collaboratively with suppliers? It is very important for organizations to have strategic suppliers who work with them in partnership to improve performance, quality, and cost. The critical element for collaboration is trust, which develops over a time as you start to work closely with your suppliers, and depends on both sides being true and transparent. If is transparent of the work they are doing with each other. So trust is a very key element for collaboration with the suppliers, and it should be both ways. There may be many commodities items which could be purchased from several suppliers, and this level of activity is not required for such items. Instead, organization should focus on bottleneck and critical commodities and work with their key suppliers in collaboration to secure the supply for the critical items, and protect relationship with suppliers who represent the majority of the organization spend. Collaboration is not just exchanging emails or meeting once in a while. It needs quite a lot more than this. True collaboration involves sharing our vision and forecast with key suppliers, showing them the big picture, and involving them at a very early stage of the process. The strategic suppliers play a key role in decision-making process and help us, see the risk early in the supply chain. Our key suppliers should be treated as a part of our organization, and to me, this is the best approach to achieve the best results from today's complex supply chain. The need for regular communication and exchanges of information is very high in collaborative relationship. We should meet very often with our collaborative suppliers to discuss the topics such as changes in demand, supply chain quality, and cost. This determines the flexibility required in the supply chain, and it may also add to the profitability of the company. By sharing more high-level information with our key suppliers and working with them more closely, we can make quicker and better decisions to achieve more secure and long-term results. To select or identify our key suppliers with whom we shall work in collaboration, we need a clear picture of our supply structure. That is commodities which would be single sourcing, commodities which are sole sourcing, commodities which are multiple sourcing, and commodities which are dedicated sourcing. Once we understand this, then we can identify critical commodities, we can identify our critical suppliers, we can meet with the suppliers' top management team to discuss our objectives and share our vision. We can identify key projects, what exactly to the organization wish to achieve. We can define the requirement and details, and then monitor status. Once we have identified above, we can also assess the supplier's perception of us, whether they see us as a key core customer already or as an organization which could be developed into a key customer in the future. If we are a key customer, we have a better chance of working with suppliers as a strategic partnership. If our business is not important to the supplier and we are not seen as a key customer, it can be difficult to gain their commitment to a long-term partnership. It is very important that both suppliers and customers are committed to work together for mutual benefit in the collaborative relationship. Better supplier collaboration will improve flexibility and profitability in the supply chain and the organization. By working collaboratively with our key suppliers, we can monitor and improve supplier performance, we can reduce cost and resolve quality issues, we can improve business alignment between supplier and customer, can be more efficient in procurement of material. We can assess supply forecasts and corresponding commitments. We can make faster, more cost-effective decisions and develop new routes to supply. We can attain better long-term results. We can evaluate strategies and requirements for the large contract. We can evaluate engineering changes and the effect to inventories and schedule the commitments. We can manage data and reliability-related issues.